Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Commodity TV for you here in good old Canada. Just landed yesterday in Vancouver, and today we are in Edmonton, or let's say nearby Edmonton, at the facilities of RavenQuest BioMed. And I want to spend the whole day here at their facilities because to me, honestly, it's also my first cannabis growing facility, Orbital Gardens here. We will show you around, and a new technology which they're also licensing out. And George Robinson, the CEO, will give us a full insight in a second. And believe me, it's -12. It's really cold. That's why we go now inside.
Right now we're in our mother room. Mother room is where we have our large female plants that haven't went into flower. And in that we then clip from those plants to make small baby plants, and those baby plants will then go out and be rooted. This room right now is very unique. You're starting to see some of the layout of the room. What we have here is one of our LED lights that we use for our mothering room, and some specifics of this which makes this a rather interesting light is we have one of the smallest ballasts here that we use for an 8-foot light. But more importantly, we also have a small little radio antenna that comes off our light, so we can actually frequency tune the exact color palette that we need for the mother plants depending on the cultivar, or other people would call it a strain. This is a unique function that we can do in our rooms to make sure that we can maximize the performance of our mother plants by ensuring that we give them the exact right vegetation life for the type of cultivar they are. It's a rather unique piece of equipment that we here at RavenQuest are able to employ in all of our facilities. Yeah, so right now we're in our propagation room. Some people would also know it as a rooted clipping room. What this provides us is the ability is once we've clipped the plants from the previous room we're in, or the mother room, we bring those clippings over here, and this is where we let them root out. During the root out process, which takes about 7 to 10 days, we have this capacity to make sure that they can grow to very strong root structure before we put them out into the gardens. What we now have is we have a rooted clipping that has got very strong and has created a lot of roots. So we actually then bring them in trays and we bring them into our orbital gardens. These gardens here provide a very unique and very climate-controlled conditions for the gardens. What happens is the gardens are turning around the center light, as you see here. What that allows for us is to control the temperature, the airflow across the plant structure to make sure that we can hold a 0.3 relative humidity change across the whole canopy of the cannabis that's growing. What we're allowed to do here also is because the plants are so close to the light fixture, we use about 65% light to be able to grow the same amount of yield. And as you look down here into the water tray, we actually use 70% less water because there's no water that's dripped to waste. We recover every drip of water, recondition that water, and then reapply it back to the plants. But thirdly, because our plants are so small and because we don't throw away any nutrients, we use about 90% less nutrients across the whole grow cycle. What does that mean? We have an environmental and sustainability plan that's second to none in Canada and potentially worldwide. But number two is we have this capability to reduce our overall operating costs by reducing our electricity, reducing our water, and reducing our nutrients. Probably one of the most unique growing methods that we call Cannabis 2.0, and what we're doing to dynamically change the cannabis space in Canada and beyond. Yeah, so this is our harder dryer that we bring in from Germany. This has been added a lot of special components that we have worked with them to create some great technology here in play. What we're doing here is we're actually taking the wet bud or wet flower, we're bringing it into this chamber, and what we're actually doing is we're drying it in 30 hours. This is very impressive because normally it'll take 7 to 10 days to dry cannabis if you're hanging it in a normal room. What's beautiful about drying it in 30 hours, we actually take the risk out of the plant or the buds getting mold built into them because they have too much water over a long period of time, along with oxygen. So what we're able to do here is remove that oxygen completely out of the plants in 30 hours. So two things happen. We have a protected plant material that will have the highest yield output coming out of the dryers. And number two, we can go to cash quicker because as soon as it comes out of this system, we're able to put it into the vault and then sell this material out to patients or out to our retail users here in Canada, or ultimately out to places like Germany or other European countries. We really want to have a good environmental and sustainability plan within all of our facilities. So behind us is an 18,000 liter tank. This tank is super oxygenated to about 44 parts per million. This allows for natural purification of the water and treating of the water, not only in the tank, but as that transfers down the piping right to the gardens. But more importantly here, we have an 18,000 liter tank. The whole operation for every feeding cycle will only consume about 4,000 liters of water. Let's compare that to what happens in other types of flat tables environments. Flat table environments that would grow between 7 and 10,000 kilograms of cannabis would consume approximately 30 to 50,000 liters of water, largely because their plants are much larger and they need more water, plus they drip to waste. This becomes incredibly important as you take a look at your operating costs, that you take a look at every single possibility in the supply chain to the plant to make sure you control your cost and provide the most perfect water to the plants that they're looking for so they can uptake the nutrients. By oxygenating the water and by using only 4,000 liters, we've maintained both environmental friendly and sustainable plans on our water use, but two, we get the maximum yield by utilizing super oxygenated water, and they can uptake just the amount of water that they need. It's really a 1-2 punch that provides us with a whole bunch of opportunity for the plant material, and more importantly from those people who make an investment into RQB. It's quite imperative that you make sure that you understand what's happening right across the facility without having to have people running around checking everything. Everything that you've seen today, from the growing rooms, the mother room, and the propagation room, through to the all the different areas of the mechanical room, electrical room, and our mechanical hallway, all of it can be managed and monitored right from here. Any process changes can be made here and controlled. If any one of those systems has a problem or is not meeting the requirements of the specification as designed or control parameter, what ends up happening is there's a pop-up here, an email or a text message is sent out to any one of our employees to make sure that we respond. What's unique about this, from this position where I am right now, 2 people can control this whole facility and understand exactly what's happening. But more importantly, this facility is connected to our 2 other facilities, so we can have other people supporting us to make sure that we have the best skills, talents, and attributes of our people managing all of our facilities in combination to make sure that we have the absolute best cannabis for our consumers that we're making. And we can do that with spread out resources right across the country. Another unique design that RavenQuest has put into its facilities. As we have seen many good, bad, and ugly, we believe we've made a really good facility based on our past experiences on our consulting side.
Well, George, this is now the end of our tour. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This is RavenQuest. And George, maybe you want to say some words?
You know, it's a real privilege to have you here. What a great insight and thoughts you have on our industry. We really appreciate you taking the time to come visit us way up here in the north, especially at minus 12 degrees C. Thanks again for coming out.
Absolutely, and I'm still sweating. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.
It was a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.